power is not given to the weak, it is taken by those who look strong. In this world, perception is currency. If you appear poor, you invite chains. If you look powerful, doors open, enemies hesitate, and allies bow. Today, I will show you why appearing poor, even when you are, is the first step to your own destruction. Men are not moved by truth, but by appearances. The beggar may possess wisdom, yet he is ignored. The prince may be hollow, yet he commands. To appear poor is to signal to the world that you are defenseless, that you can be controlled, dismissed, or devoured. Understand? Society does not reward authenticity, it rewards illusion. To survive and to ascend, you must learn the art of masking weakness, the discipline of crafting an image that commands fear, respect, and advantage. This is not morality, it is survival in its purest form. Men are judged by what they display, not by what they are. This is a truth you may resist, but the world enforces it every day. When you walk into a room, before you speak, before you act, your appearance has already whispered a story about you, and if that story is one of poverty, you are already defeated. Think carefully. What does poverty communicate? Not merely the absence of money, but the absence of strength. It signals that you lack influence, that you lack options, that you lack control over the world around you. And in a society governed by perception, this is fatal. Consider history. The Roman plebeian could possess loyalty, courage, even cunning, but his voice carried no weight in the Senate. Why? Because he entered the chamber dressed in rags, marked by scarcity. It was not his ideas that mattered, but his image. His poverty reduced him to an object, not a man. Have you noticed how men instinctively respect the wealthy, even when that wealth is inherited, undeserved, or corrupt? Why do they bow to such figures? Because wealth, or even the appearance of it, is a silent proclamation of power. It announces, I have control over resources. I command others. I am not prey. Now contrast this with poverty. To look poor is to broadcast helplessness. It invites predators, exploiters, and opportunists. Employers will pay you less. Friends will expect you to serve more. Even strangers will treat you with less patience. Why? Because they believe they can do so without consequence. You may say, but I am rich in spirit, rich in wisdom, rich in character. That is admirable, but irrelevant. The masses do not see the hidden treasure inside you. They see only the surface, and they judge ruthlessly. Let me ask you, when was the last time you dismissed a beggar on the street without a second thought? Did you pause to ask whether he might be a philosopher, a poet, or a man once powerful who fell on hard times? No, you walked past him because his image spoke louder than his soul. That is the cruelty of perception, and it governs your fate as much as his. This is why rulers of old understood the theater of appearances. A king might face famine in his land, rebellion in his court, and weakness in his armies. Yet he would still appear in public adorned with jewels, draped in silk, and guarded by soldiers. Why? Because the display of strength mattered more than the reality. If he appeared poor, his enemies would attack without hesitation. If he appeared rich, they hesitated, even when the truth was otherwise. Do you see? Looking poor is not simply about lacking gold or silver. It is about signaling to the world that you are vulnerable. And the world is merciless to the vulnerable. Modern psychology confirms this ancient wisdom. Studies show that people instinctively assign authority to those who appear well dressed, even if they hold no real position of power. In experiments, individuals in suits were obeyed more often when jaywalking across a street than those dressed in rags. The crowd followed appearance, not essence. Think about your own life. In a negotiation, in a workplace, in a relationship, how often does perception decide your outcome before you even open your mouth? If you appear poor, you are discounted before you begin. If you appear powerful, you are granted attention, even obedience. But here lies the darker truth. Once you are marked as poor, it is difficult to escape the chain. People expect you to stay there. They shape their treatment of you accordingly. They offer you fewer chances, lower positions, smaller rewards. Their judgment becomes a prison. So ask yourself, do you wish to be seen as a man of strength, or as a man already conquered? The choice is not about wealth itself. It is about the impression you create. To master life, you must master appearances. And the first rule is simple: never look poor. For when you do, the world does not pity you. It prepares to devour you. But appearances are not enough on their own. They must be crafted, sharpened, and wielded like a weapon. And in the next lesson, we shall explore how the theater of wealth becomes your shield, your disguise, and your battlefield. Because survival is not about truth. It is about what others believe. Life is not lived in truth. It is lived on a stage. Every man, whether he admits it or not, is an actor. Every gesture, every garment, every possession becomes part of his costume. The wise understand this. The foolish deny it and are destroyed. Consider, when a prince ascends a balcony to greet his people, do they ask about his treasury accounts, his debts, or his hidden weaknesses? No, they see the crown on his head, the gold around his shoulders, the army at his side. They see the image, and they kneel. This is the theater of wealth. Men do not follow reality. They follow appearances, illusions, shadows that seem powerful. To master power, you must learn not only to possess wealth, but to display it as though it were endless, inevitable, untouchable. Ask yourself, why do merchants decorate their stores with expensive furnishings even before they turn a profit? Why do rulers build palaces while their people starve? Why do modern influencers rent cars, wear borrowed jewelry, and photograph themselves in luxury hotels? Because the performance of wealth creates obedience before truth can interfere. Perception bends reality. Look at the Medici of Florence. Their banking empire did not simply rise from clever trade. It rose because they understood spectacle. They funded art, architecture, feasts, and processions, not because they loved beauty, but because these displays convinced the city that their power was eternal. The people did not see the ledgers of debt. They saw cathedrals, statues, and festivals that proclaimed the Medici untouchable. And so they bowed. You may believe honesty is noble, that showing your struggle, your poverty, your simplicity will earn respect. But respect does not come from truth. It comes from illusion. When you show lack, people despise you. When you show abundance, even if false, people submit. Modern psychology proves what history has long taught. Studies reveal that those who appear wealthy, through dress, through posture, through symbols, are instantly rated as more competent, more intelligent, more trustworthy, regardless of their actual ability. The suit commands more than the man inside it. The car impresses more than the driver. The theater overshadows the actor. Now, consider how predators use this stage. A con artist does not appear poor. He dresses well, carries himself with confidence, surrounds himself with symbols of status. He borrows a luxury watch, rents a car, stages photographs. And people, desperate to believe in power, hand him their money. He succeeds not because of truth, but because he mastered the theater of wealth. And yet, here is the dark irony. Many who truly possess wealth fail because they do not understand the performance. They hoard it, hide it, live quietly. The world sees them as ordinary, and thus treats them as such, while another man, with nothing but theater, rises above them. So I ask you, what role are you playing? Do you enter the world dressed as prey or as power? Do you walk into a room as a man of means, or as a man already conquered? If others cannot see your wealth, then for them, it does not exist. Understand this: the theater of wealth is not about luxury alone. It is about control. A carefully chosen symbol can command more than a fortune locked away. A single ring, a refined garment, a posture of authority. These speak louder than hidden riches. The appearance of abundance creates influence, whether you truly possess abundance or not. Think of the stage as a weapon. Those who master it can bend crowds, silence critics, and disarm rivals. Those who ignore it are dismissed, forgotten, and consumed. Even the church knew this. For centuries, priests wore gold, built cathedrals, staged rituals drenched in incense and light. Why? Because men do not worship truth. They worship theater. They believe what dazzles them. Do not deceive yourself with noble ideals. The world does not reward the authentic. It rewards the convincing. So if you wish to rise, you must learn the performance. Not to flaunt recklessly, but to craft appearances with precision. Every detail of your image must whisper strength, stability, inevitability. For when the crowd believes you are powerful, you become powerful. But remember, theater is a dangerous game. Play it poorly, and the illusion shatters. Play it well, and reality bends to your stage. In the next lesson, we will examine why respect is never given to truth, but only to the mask. For men do not follow what is, they follow what seems. Respect is the most valuable currency a man can hold. But understand this clearly, respect is not earned through truth. It is bought, manufactured, and projected through image. The world does not investigate deeply, it judges swiftly, and it does so by appearances. Think of history's rulers. How many were truly virtuous? How many were honest, sincere, or noble? Few, if any. Yet they commanded respect, not because of who they were, but because of what they appeared to be. Julius Caesar did not parade his doubts or insecurities. He presented himself as destined, invincible, favored by fortune. Even when his enemies outnumbered him, he projected calm authority. And men followed, not because of truth, but because of the mask. Now ask yourself, how much respect do you receive in your life? Do others listen when you speak? Do they defer to your presence? Or do they dismiss you, interrupt you, overlook you? If the latter, the fault is not in your essence, it is in your image. Modern psychology confirms what princes of old knew instinctively. Studies reveal that people assign competence and leadership to those who simply appear confident, even if they are not. A firm voice, steady eye contact, and controlled movement convince others more than actual skill. Respect flows toward the convincing mask, not the hidden truth. Consider the courtroom. The lawyer who appears sharp, dressed in refinement, speaking with certainty, commands the room. The truth of his argument may be weak, but his performance forces the jury to respect him. Meanwhile, the man who speaks truth without polish, without control, without image, goes unheard. You may say, but is this not deception? Of course it is. And yet deception is the foundation of power. Men do not crave truth. They crave certainty, stability, and the appearance of strength. The mask gives them that, and so they follow it. Think of the church in the Middle Ages. Did the priests gain respect because of hidden virtue? No, they wore robes of gold, performed rituals with smoke and light, spoke in tongues that seemed divine. The image was sacred, even if the truth was corruption. And the people respected what they saw, not what was. You are no different. If you expose your full truth, your fears, your poverty, your weakness, you will not be respected. You will be pitied at best, exploited at worst. But if you project an image of strength, if you carefully control what others see, you will command their deference, even if beneath the mask you are still uncertain. Respect is not about authenticity. It is about authority, and authority is performed. Consider also the dynamics of relationships. A partner respects not the one who reveals every insecurity, but the one who maintains an aura of control, mystery, and self-possession. Too much truth kills desire, but a carefully crafted image sustains it. People respect boundaries, they respect masks. So, what does this mean for you? It means you must ask, what mask am I wearing? Does my image whisper weakness, or does it command attention? Do I dress, speak, and move in ways that signal authority, or do I blend into invisibility? Understand this, even silence can be powerful when framed by the right image. A man of status can remain quiet and still command respect because his very presence speaks louder than words. But a man who looks poor, fragile, or uncertain, his silence condemns him. This is why respect is bought by image, not truth. The mask is your currency. The illusion is your shield, and once people believe in it, they will defend it for you. They will justify your authority, invent virtues on your behalf, and ignore your flaws, because they are invested in the image you have projected. But beware. If your image collapses, respect dies instantly. A single crack in the mask, revealed too early, can undo years of power. Thus, you must protect your illusion as though it were your crown. Without it, you are naked, and the world is merciless to the naked. So ask again, are you respected because of who you are? Or because of what you appear to be? And more importantly, Do you control that appearance, or do others define it for you? Weakness is not neutral. It is a signal, and in a world ruled by hunger, every signal is read by predators. When you appear poor, you do not merely show lack. You broadcast vulnerability, and the moment others sense it, they do not pity you. They sharpen their knives. Think of nature. The lion does not chase the strongest antelope. It singles out the weakest, the limping, the fragile. Why? Because weakness guarantees reward at the lowest cost. Humans, though clothed in civilization, follow the same law. They may smile, but their instincts are merciless. History offers endless proof. When cities weakened by famine showed desperation, invading armies struck without hesitation. When kings emptied their treasuries and could no longer pay mercenaries, their allies turned against them. When nobles displayed ruin, creditors circled like vultures. Weakness does not invite compassion, it invites exploitation. Now ask yourself, when people look at you, what do they see? Do they see abundance, strength, options? Or do they see scarcity, fatigue, and dependence? Because once others believe you lack, they will calculate how to use you. Consider the workplace. The employee who seems desperate for his salary will be given the lowest pay and the hardest tasks. The employer knows he cannot walk away. His need makes him exploitable. Meanwhile, the man who projects independence, who signals he could leave at any moment, commands better pay and lighter demands. Respect flows to those who cannot be exploited. This is why poverty is so dangerous. Not only because you have less, but because others sense they can take from you without consequence. They will pay you less. They will demand more. They will borrow from you and never repay. Even family and friends will lean heavier on your shoulders when they believe you cannot resist. Have you noticed? The one who always says yes is asked most often. The one who never refuses is burdened most. This is not because others admire generosity. It is because they recognize a weakness and exploit it. To look poor is to live as that man forever. Even in relationships, the same law applies. The partner who appears dependent, needy, or financially strained is not cherished. They are controlled. The other takes liberties, makes demands, and dictates terms. Scarcity breeds imbalance. Abundance breeds freedom. Think also of debt. When you are poor, creditors do not treat you gently. They tighten their grip, raise their interest, and squeeze harder. But when you appear wealthy, banks and lenders chase you with offers, lower rates, and generous terms. Why? Because weakness is seen as risk and strength as opportunity. Modern psychology explains this ruthlessness. People unconsciously assign higher value to those who appear self-sufficient and lower value to those who appear dependent. In experiments, individuals who admitted financial strain were judged less attractive as partners and less competent as leaders. Scarcity reduces perceived worth. Abundance inflates it. So ask again, what are you signaling? Because every detail, your dress, your posture, your words, tells the world whether you are predator or prey. If you look poor, you become the easy target. If you look powerful, others hesitate. Understand this cruel reality: the world does not punish you for weakness. It profits from it. That is why pity is dangerous. Those who claim to pity you often benefit from keeping you dependent. Charity, too, is rarely pure. It is often a leash disguised as kindness. The giver gains control, the receiver loses freedom. Do you see the pattern? When you appear poor, you are not ignored. You are consumed. Your labor is taken cheaply. Your time is used freely. Your worth is discounted at every turn. Because weakness is the one resource the world never respects. But here lies the paradox. Even if you possess nothing, you cannot afford to look poor. Your survival depends on crafting an image that signals strength, control, and choice. Even if behind the mask, scarcity still gnaws at you. For appearance shields you from exploitation, while exposure guarantees it. So remember this: to appear poor is not a sin. It is a strategy error. And in the game of power, errors are fatal. The question is not whether you are weak. The question is whether the world believes you are. And in the next lesson, we will examine why the appearance of wealth is not merely a performance, but a weapon, a shield that deflects attack and a sword that keeps enemies at bay. Because when you look powerful, men hesitate. And hesitation is the first step toward your victory. Power does not only conquer, it protects. And nothing shields a man more effectively than the appearance of wealth. Understand this clearly. Wealth is not only a tool of indulgence, it is armor. It is the barrier that keeps aggressors at a distance, rivals uncertain, and parasites starved. Even when the wealth itself is modest, the appearance of it serves as a warning. Think of the medieval fortress. Its tall walls, guarded towers, and iron gates were not always filled with armies. Often, the walls were hollow symbols, designed to intimidate, but their appearance alone deterred countless attacks. Why risk storming a castle that looks impregnable when easier prey lies nearby? So too with you. When you appear affluent, through your dress, your manner, your associations, you become less inviting to exploitation. Predators prefer weaker targets. They circle those who look poor, desperate, or defenseless. But when they look upon you and sense cost, they hesitate. And hesitation is safety. History is filled with this principle. The Venetian Republic, though often weaker in military might, projected immense wealth through trade fleets, palaces, and opulence. This spectacle deterred attack. To assault Venice was to risk angering a city that looked unbreakable, even when its resources were stretched thin. Wealth became its shield. Have you noticed how people treat the rich with exaggerated caution? They lower their voices, measure their words, tread carefully. Why? Because they fear consequence. They assume wealth buys influence, lawyers, allies, and retaliation. They assume wealth means protection, and so they retreat. Now contrast this with poverty. The poor man has no shield. His voice carries no threat. His complaints fall on deaf ears. Strike him, cheat him, exploit him. What can he do? Without wealth or its image, he has no armor. His very existence invites violation. Ask yourself how many of your own struggles come not from reality, but from how you are perceived. If you walk into negotiation dressed with strength, with symbols of means, the other side fears offending you. They assume you have options. They concede more. But if you arrive signaling lack, they will strip you of everything. Modern psychology confirms this defense mechanism. Studies show that people unconsciously respect boundaries more when they believe someone has resources. The wealthy are interrupted less, argued with less, and challenged less. Their possessions create an aura of untouchability. Their wealth speaks before they do. Even in the smallest matters, this shield operates. A man entering a restaurant in refinement is treated differently from one who enters in rags. Service sharpens for the wealthy. Patience thins for the poor. The world respects appearances not out of kindness, but out of fear and calculation. Think of relationships again. The partner who appears capable, independent, and resourceful commands loyalty. The one who appears needy, dependent, and poor invites control. Wealth, or even its illusion, creates leverage. It keeps others from overstepping. It forces them to calculate before daring to use you. But let me warn you, do not confuse defense with arrogance. The shield of wealth is most effective when used with precision. A fortress too gaudy invites envy and attack. A display too obvious breeds resentment. The art lies in balance to look powerful enough to deter, without appearing so bloated that others conspire to cut you down. Think of a sword master. He does not wave his blade wildly in every direction. He rests it calmly by his side, letting others imagine its sharpness. The true strength of wealth as defense is subtlety, enough to suggest danger, without inviting direct challenge. And so you must ask, what shield have you built? Do you project an image that discourages insult and exploitation? Or do you walk the world bare, inviting every strike, every demand, every humiliation? Because make no mistake, those without armor are always chosen first. The wolves do not circle the lion, they circle the lamb. Wealth, then, is not only about possession, it is about projection. It is about letting others believe that behind you stands a fortress they cannot afford to test. That belief alone is worth more than gold. But armor alone is not enough. Defense keeps you safe, yes, but it does not make you feared. It does not make others obey, submit, or revere. For that, You must learn not only to shield yourself with illusion, but to wield it as a weapon of control. And in the next lesson, we shall uncover the art of mastering the illusion. How to create the mask of wealth without destroying yourself to fund it. The theater of power requires balance. Spend too much and you collapse. Spend too little and you look weak. The secret lies in illusion, and illusion, in the right hands, is stronger than reality. The greatest danger in the theater of wealth is not poverty, it is excess. For many men, in their hunger to appear powerful, destroy themselves in the process. They bankrupt their future to fund a mask. They live in castles of debt, not fortresses of strength. And when the illusion collapses, the fall is worse than poverty itself. So the question is this: how do you appear powerful, wealthy, untouchable, without bleeding yourself dry? The answer is discipline, the art of selective illusion, the mastery of appearing greater than you are, while never overreaching into ruin. History offers many warnings. Think of the French monarchy before the Revolution. They believed opulence was their armor, so they displayed endless feasts, palaces, and jewels. But their extravagance drained the treasury. The mask could not be sustained, and when it cracked, the people tore them apart. Contrast this with the Roman general who paraded victory spoils through the city after conquest. The spectacle was grand, but it was temporary, controlled, designed for effect. He did not bankrupt himself. He borrowed from the image of war to command respect. One display, perfectly timed, outweighed years of hidden truth. This is the lesson: illusion must be crafted, not indulged. It must be precise, not reckless. If you attempt to live as a king while possessing the means of a servant, you destroy yourself. But if you learn to display strength strategically, you command respect at minimal cost. Ask yourself, do you need a palace, or just the impression of one? Do you need endless riches, or only symbols that whisper wealth? Modern psychology proves the effectiveness of these symbols. Studies show that people infer status not from vast displays, but from subtle markers: a well-fitted suit, a composed demeanor, an object of refinement carried with confidence. Small signs trigger the same instinct as immense fortune. The illusion does not require ruin. It requires precision. Think of the con artist. He rarely owns true wealth. He borrows, rents, stages, and times his displays. A single luxury car, used sparingly, convinces others he owns a fleet. One carefully chosen watch suggests a fortune. The illusion is enough to open doors, and once inside, he extracts real power. Now reflect how much of your own struggle comes not from reality, but from poor presentation. Do you try to show everything at once, exhausting yourself? Or do you cultivate a few sharp illusions that shift how others perceive you? The disciplined man invests not in endless display, but in leverage. He learns when to show wealth and when to conceal it. He chooses symbols that multiply perception rather than drain resources. He understands that respect flows not from the size of his fortune, but from the belief that he has more than enough. Think of the chessboard. A pawn, positioned cleverly, can control more space than it's worth. So too can a single symbol of wealth control more perception than a fortune hidden away. The mask, when wielded with strategy, becomes larger than reality. But here lies the darker truth. Once you master illusion, you may no longer need wealth at all. If others believe in your abundance, they treat you as abundant. Opportunities flow, doors open, respect follows. Their belief becomes your resource, and from that belief, true wealth often emerges. Yet discipline must never be forgotten. Many are intoxicated by the mask, confusing illusion for reality. They spend recklessly to maintain the image until they collapse. The wise man knows the mask is a tool, not an addiction. It serves him. He does not serve it. So ask again, are you crafting illusion with precision, or is illusion consuming you? Are you master of the mask, or slave to it? Because in the end, wealth is not what you possess. It is what others believe you possess. And belief, once secured, shields you, empowers you, elevates you, at a fraction of the cost. This is the true mastery, to look powerful without bleeding yourself to prove it. To appear wealthy without ruin. To craft an image so controlled that others protect it for you. But illusion alone is never enough. For appearance without strategy is fragile. The true game begins when you learn to fuse illusion with control, when the mask does not merely defend you, but bends others to your will. And that is where the path leads next, beyond survival, beyond defense, to the art of command. Power is never seized in the open. It is taken in silence, under masks, in the shadows where no one looks. The strongest chains are invisible. The most obedient servant believes he is free, and the most effective ruler is the one whose subjects never suspect they are being ruled. This is the essence of control, not force. Not demand, but subtle influence disguised as choice. You guide their emotions, they call it their will. You limit their options, they call it freedom. You direct their fears, they call it reason. What greater victory is there than to command without being seen? To move men like pieces, while they swear the moves are their own. Now the question is yours. Would you rather expose your hand and be resisted, or hide it and be obeyed without question? If this truth unsettles you, good. It should. Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more strategies drawn from power, psychology, and the darker corners of human nature. And share this video. Let others wonder who truly holds their strings.